Hey, so I just wanted to discuss narcissistic personality disorder, and if you're interested in learning just what exactly that is, it's a categorized personality disorder and mental disorder, and I'm going by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders that psychiatrists use. It's called the DSM-5, so this is the Diagnostic Mental Disorder Manual. This one's the 5th edition. And so it says the top signs and symptoms of a narcissist are that they have a grandiose sense of self-importance. They think of themselves as the best, the top, god of their own world. They have a preoccupation with fantasies, success, power, brilliance, beauty, and love, and they kind of live in this fantasy land. They believe they're special, unique, and can only be understood by or should associate with other high status people. So, I don't see anything wrong with believing you're special, because we all are special, but this person has it in a very unhealthy way to where it's I don't associate with people lower than me, and I'm better than you, and move out of my way. And that's just kind of their personality and how they think of themselves. They might not express this because there's overt and covert narcissists. Overt narcissists, you can tell right away that they're a narcissist. They will tell you I'm the best, and I'm good at everything I do, and I'm God of my, they'll say that outright to you. But a covert narcissist will hide under a false humility, and they'll pretend that they're Mr. Nice Guy or Lady, and they're really thinking different things in their head. They're really think they're the most important. They have that grandiose sense of self-importance. But they also require excessive admiration from others, so they need other people to be constantly admiring them. They need several, or at least someone they're around all the time that thinks they're great and admires everything they do and agrees with them and plays along in their little fantasy world of I am God and I'm better than you, and makes them feel the best. So those are the kind of people that they want around them. They are interpersonally exploitative, so they take advantage of others to achieve their own ends, which is a really sick quality that they have. They will run other people off the road to get ahead. They'll step on your back to get up higher than you. They really they don't care about others. They care about them and what's going on in their lives. So a lot of times they're very selfish, and they won't really ask you about your life unless it's unless they're kind of faking and wanting to gain some kind of entrance in your life that you're not opening. Then they'll become more interested in who you are and your life, and they're not really interested. They're just finding little clues to manipulate you or use them against you in some way, or use them to their own benefit, which is what they do everything for, their own benefit. Which goes to the next one is they lack empathy. They are unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. So this is according to the Mental Disorder Handbook of Narcissistic Personality Disorder. So they lack empathy. They don't feel other people's pain, sadness. They don't personally give a shit. They think it's annoying if you're crying or whatever. If you're a benefit to them in their life, or they have your admiration, or you have a certain image of them, they will pretend to feel sad that you're crying, or like, even maybe offer to help you, usually to look good for you or in front of other people. Everything they do is for their own personal gain and benefit. So anytime they are like, oh my gosh, that's so sad, I feel like that must be horrible, like they're playing a game and they are doing it to get brownie points. They don't literally give two shits about something bad happening in your life, or how bad you feel, or how awful, or even how sad they made you feel, like they said something horrible to you. They're probably laughing about it in their head, and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that would hurt your feelings, I'm so sorry, like I didn't know I could do that, and like just hurt your feelings like that. But it's like, they know, they don't care. So they are often, the next ones, they're often envious of others, believing that others are envious of them. They're super jealous, and they don't want anyone to have anything better than them. They don't want anyone to look better than them. They don't want anyone to be smarter than them. They don't want anyone to be stronger than them. They don't want anyone to have any better skills, qualities, characteristics than them. They are the best. They are God, and you should not surpass them or pay the consequences, because you're definitely getting emotionally abused if they see you as a threat of, like, you have a quality that they don't. They show arrogant attitudes. That's explanatory. They're arrogant people. They, will say like, well, I did this, and, I did all this with no help, and I'm just really smart, so I figured all of it out. And a lot of times they'll be like that. Covert narcissists aren't as much like that, because they don't want to give away their sense of self-importance, so they'll kind of hide it. Which those are the more dangerous ones, because they really mirror your personality, and they look at people who are empathetic, people that are normal, and they care about others' feelings. They don't want to, like, hurt anyone around them, or, like, they don't enjoy making people cry. They're, like, feel terrible. The narcissist will look at those people and kind of mimic their behavior and copy them, and see, like, how these people that are actually good people operate, and they will play an acting role of this person, and pretend that's who they are, because they know that's how they should be. And so they have this really unhealthy, just, I'm the best and you're not worth anything and you're in my world. It's almost like a simulation that revolves around them. Like, this is their world and you're just a little pawn in it, and they could do whatever and treat you however, and there's no consequences. And I'll get into the spiritual aspects of that in another video, but this was just going by the actual DSM handbook that psychiatrists use. So this is a real personality disorder, and it is fairly common. Went back to the founding fathers in psychology with like Freud recognized it. I was even reading one of these pages where it was talking about all the psychologists and psychiatrists that studied and gave their reports about narcissistic personality disorder. And one of them was talking about his subject who he studied. It's right here. But yeah, Sigmund Freud is on it. Havelock Ellis is the first psychologist to say this term, narcissistic personality disorder. That was in 1898. So this has been, like, acknowledged for a while. And then Sigmund Freud in 1905. Ernest Jones, 1913, was the first to construe extreme narcissism as a character flaw. And then there's this guy that I was just mentioning, Robert Wilder, 1925. He had a case study on narcissism, and his patient was a successful scientist with an attitude of superiority. He had an obsession with fostering self-respect. He needed self-respect all the time. And he believed everyone owed him respect and a lack of normal feelings of guilt. So he didn't have guilt for bad things he did to others. This patient was aloof and independent from others and had an inability to empathize with other situations. So he did not feel for others, sadness, grief, pain, and anger. He didn't feel any of that if he, experienced that with someone. He was also selfish sexually and described that to Robert, the doctor. And Robert's patient was also overly logical and analytical and valued his own thoughts and just thinking for thinking's sake, and didn't value as much the scientific knowledge that Robert would have to offer him. So he just believed he knew everything and that the person studying him was absolutely, like, nonsense. So that just sums up the whole narcissistic personality disorder. So narcissistic personality disorder is studied heavily in psychiatry, psychology. So again, the symptoms are exaggerating feelings of self-importance, craving admiration excessively, like you have to have it, reduced levels of empathy. You do not care about others' feelings at all. You can't feel other people's feelings. You do not put yourself in others' shoes, and you don't care to. The onset of this mental disorder, because it's classified as a mental disorder, which I think is funny, because if you ever known a narcissist, personally, I've known many, and they love to tell people they're around that are normal that they have mental disorders, and it's actually them with the mental disorder. It's because they make people really upset because they have no empathy or regard for anything mean they do to someone. If you cry because they hurt your feelings, they're like, Now you hurt your own feelings, it doesn't matter to them. And so, I just think it's really interesting, like, they'll tell people that love them that, like, you're mental because they hurt your feelings. It's really backwards, but they project onto you what they actually are. And the onset of this mental disorder is in early adulthood, so pretty young. It's a long term, so it lasts, they usually aren't willing to get help, so it can last till they die. The cause is unknown, but there's some pretty interesting studies on types of parenting and things that led to this, just like no discipline, being very like passive and letting your child do whatever they want can lead to that I'm God complex and lead to narcissistic personality disorder. So, like, never correcting them, just always praising them all the time and never being like, no, that's wrong. No, you can't do that. This is bad. You're always just like, oh, it's okay. We'll cover that up. And on the other end, like, extremely controlling and not letting them do anything can also lead to narcissism. That was some of the studies I just read in the parents of narcissistic people. But we can go further into that another time. The treatment, there isn't really a treatment. They're working on psychotherapy for that. The causes, they think it's genetic and environment. I'll go more into my opinion on that sometime. So yeah, that sums up what narcissistic personality disorder is in a basic from the psychiatrist manual. Thanks for listening.